I moved a month before the pandemic. So like from there, I'm on edge. I'm trying to like find work. I'm trying to apply for unemployment. I'm trying to understand like what's going on with unemployment. I'm trying to like, get myself on my feet. And once I get myself on my feet, that scarcity mindset pops in. She's like, oh, I can't go back to what I was like in the pandemic. So I started working 2-3 jobs. I started taking on 2-3 clients. 2-3 turns into 4-5. And I'm just like, next thing you know, you can't get out of bed. I was a 6 a.m. workouter. 6 a.m. turned to 6:30. It turned into 7:30. It turned into not, well, I don't have the energy to work out. Because I'm consistently working, I'm also not eating 3 meals a day. I'm eating 1.5. I'm eating breakfast and then like some celery. And then I look up and it's 9 o'clock at night and I'm having dinner so late. I was skinny. And I'm like, I don't even need like hot, skinny, like fatty summertime. I was giving like, oh, are you okay? I'm going to quietly get my stuff and leave before it's the end of me.
Cristina, how are you?
I am good. I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm highly favored and anointed. I'm happy to be here.
I love that. I love that. Oh, I'm so happy for you to be here. Before we get started to talk about this important lesson, where are your people from? Where are you from?
Oh, my people are from Haiti. My dad's side is from Haiti and my mother's side from Panama. So interesting mix, very interesting Creole, Panamanian, Afro-Latina mix. But my people, they're here. They're also in New York. Everyone just immigrates over to New York and Miami. So I do have family in New York and I do have family in Miami. So that's where the Haitians reside. That's where the Panamanians reside.
So did you grow up speaking different languages?
I grew up with my mother mostly doing Spanish. And then when my adulthood, I had I don't want to say a better relationship with my dad, but me and my dad became more acquainted. I would say, I don't know how that goes. I started to learn a little bit more French, a little bit more Creole. So I would say now I'm about half and half, but growing up, it was only Spanish, girl.
I'm not going to lie. I love me a Black polyglot. And I do think that there are a lot more Black polyglots throughout the world. But because of supremacy and colonialism, the languages that are near and dear to us are not considered important enough. But the number of Black folks that I know who speak 3, 4, 5 languages is beautiful.
Or sometimes it's not even accepted. Like sometimes you'll see that Black person speaking like Korean and you're just like, why are they speaking Korean? Because I learned it. Just like how you did, because I liked it.
Because I can. And I will.
Exactly that.
So let's talk about burnout. Well, one, I think that burnout is the most underutilized and overutilized term right now. If that makes any sense to you?
No, it's a buzzword. It's a buzzword everywhere. Like, oh, I'm burnt out. And I'm just like, but do you know what that means, really?
Exactly. So walk me through this. When was the first time that you think you were experiencing burnout and possibly didn't even identify it?
My entire career when I moved to Los Angeles, I'm based in DC right now, but for the past like 4.5 years, I spent in LA. And I think that entire frame of 4.5 years was burnout because I felt like I was always on the go. I moved a month before the pandemic. So it's just like, you can imagine like what I feel like, and unprovoked too. It's just like, oh, I'm going to move to LA to like further my career. And then 30 days later, the pandemic hits. So like from there, I'm on edge. I'm trying to like find work. I'm trying to apply for unemployment. I'm trying to understand like what's going on with unemployment. I'm trying to like, get myself on my feet. And once I get myself on my feet, that scarcity mindset pops in. She's like, oh, I can't go back to what I was like in the pandemic. So I started working 2-3 jobs. I started taking on 2-3 clients. 2-3 turns into 4-5. And I'm just like, next thing you know, you can't get out of bed. So I'm just like, all right, something's got to give. And I just can't continue. I'm not going to be able to, enjoy the fruits of my labor if I continue working like this. So I can't even tell you where it started, but the past 4.5 years, I would say I was burnt out. Now I can say in the past year and change, I've been taking my time to slow down. I'm actually taking work that I'm actually excited about instead of just doing it for money and just kind of like breathe a bit,
I think a lot of us are burnt out. I do want to also acknowledge the privilege in being able to say that I'm burned out. So therefore, I'm going to put up boundaries. Because I do think that in a labor-based society, which we all live in, the burnout definitely, well, I shouldn't speak generally, usually stems from a place of these bills need to get paid.
Absolutely.
So once you identified the burnout, like, yo, I cannot continue this anymore, what were you doing with your money, around your money, to be creative about taking less clients, possibly not extending yourself more, but also making sure the bills were paid. Because a lot of people can't figure that out. They say they're burnt out. They hear episodes like this, like, oh yeah, Cristina said I should like probably stop working. Oh, but that light bill's due tomorrow.
So here's the tea. I'm going to tell you guys the real tea. I don't think I've ever told anyone this before. So basically, my burnt out kind of pillared into like my success. So because I was working 2-3 jobs, I was saving 2-3 jobs of money. I had a solid 45 to like 50K saved up. Granted, I understand this is not what the average person is able to have. But because I was working 2 to 3 jobs, like full-time jobs, I guess is where the burnout comes in. You're working 80 hours a week and you're getting 2 paychecks, like you're able to save 1. So that's what I was doing. I did that for about 8 months, working 2 or 3 jobs. And when I finally hit my breaking point, I was able to quit because I had a savings account saved in. So along with the savings account, along with being quote unquote legally unemployed, I was able to collect the unemployment and have the money. Don't get me wrong, the money ran out. I was living in LA, so 50K is going to go by like this. So I definitely did rack up that credit card debt. The tea is what I did for that credit card debt is I put it on a business credit card so it doesn't affect me personally. Yeah. Shout out to that business. I don't know what that business credit card is today, but I was able to rack it up there so it doesn't affect my personal credit. And I was able to just kind of sit with myself and figure out what it is that I want to do next. And again, that is a privilege. For people who don't have that privilege, I recommend just, no one wants to hear it, but move back home. And I did that too. I did all the things. I moved back home. I recently moved back home up until maybe 2 months ago is when I moved out to DC. So it's just like, I did all the things. And I don't want people to think like, oh, moving back home is something that, I failed or I had to rack up credit card debt. I failed. Like these are the emotions that you go through burnout. There's no easy way out. There's no easy way in. There's no easy way out. So that's pretty much what I did. Just to recommend, don't go into debt if you can, because it's a hard way to get out. But it is something that people have to do. And I'd rather go into debt than like suffer mentally and continue it down that road. It wasn't worth it. So the debt gets paid off, y'all. It gets paid off, I promise.
We are going to talk about this business card because 1, ditto. And 2, I think it's a vibe that I think a lot of people don't realize that a lot of people are doing. Before we get into that, when you started thinking about your burnout, what was your body's reaction?
I could not physically contribute. Like I can see my energy like just depleting. I was a 6 a.m. workouter, 6 a.m. turned to 6:30, it turned into 7:30, it turned into not well. I don't have the energy to work out. Because I'm consistently working, I'm also not eating 3 meals a day. I'm eating 1.5. I'm eating breakfast and then like some celery. And then I look up and it's 9 o'clock at night and I'm having dinner so late. So just like, I don't have the energy. I was skinny and I'm like, I don't even need like hot, skinny, like baddie summertime. I was giving like, oh, are you okay? Type thing. So it's just like, no, my body was unwell physically, mentally. Like I just wasn't there. I felt like a shell of myself, which is not okay. Don't do that.
So what was the journey to then, I guess, unburn out yourself? So you figure this out. Your body's like, sis, sit down for us all. How do you start telling clients, hey, we can't do this anymore? How do you start winding down certain areas of your life so you are not burned out?
If you are in a full-time job and you have the capacity to take a sabbatical, take it and then don't come back. That's one option. And then 2, if you're someone that has an LLC, you have a business like I did, my contracts were only for 6 months. I only do 6-month contracts. And then I allowed myself to, do I like you? Do you like me? Do we want to renew? So I had a contract that ended in October of 2023. And I decided, this is going to be it. I'm going to take my time and take my vacation. And I'll like start looking for work in January. That never happened. Start looking for anything. I was like, nah, I need to rest. But those are like my exit points. Like try to find like your exit point where you're able to recover. And again, like even if another thing, if you're not able to take a sabbatical, look into long-term and short-term disability within your insurance. When you sign up for a job, make sure that you are doing those. It does take a little bit out of your, your paycheck, but that's something that you're able to recoup on later. So you're not worried about like your bills because again, the light bill has to get paid. So those are the few things I would suggest to do. But my exit plan was just ending the contract that I had ended in October. So I decided to leave and just never come back.
It also sounds like your exit plan was some financial planning as well, because you mentioned I went back home.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that decision. I think that's a transformative decision. I think that we live in these very general societies that kids get kicked out of the home at 18. And we glorify that, the parent and the kid. And when this adult kid needs to come back home, society dings them on it. I will never ding my kid on it, but I know society dings, people like, oh, you had to go back home. How was that emotionally and mentally for you? What were the conversations with your family around that?
To be honest with you, I didn't really have a choice because I'll be 100% with you. The rent in LA, I was paying like $4,000 a month just on rent. So it's just like, if you don't have it, you don't have it. The easy way out is to try to break a lease, try to move back home or whatnot. It just didn't physically make sense for me to stay there. But conversations with my family were actually pretty open. I'm my mom's only child. So her spending time with me is very important, and me being across the US and she's living in Virginia, that wasn't ideal for her. So for me to come home, she was actually very rejoiced. My dad on the other end lives in Florida, Haitian man. Didn't give me the, oh, like you failed, but it was just like, oh, you sure you want to do that? Or like, well, what are you going to do when you move out here? Like, you have more opportunity in LA. But at the end of the day, like, my parents are not paying my bills. So I have to do what's best for me. And they both offered me, space in their home. My mom still has my childhood bedroom in her home. And my dad has a home in West Palm Beach. So I had the opportunity to go home. I wouldn't say it was like the easiest decision of like, oh, like I'm just going to pick up my stuff and go home. Because I didn't tell anybody. I kind of just left. I left. There's people that probably still think I'm in LA. It wasn't a big social media announcement that I'm moving back to the East Coast. It was more of like, I'm going to quietly get my stuff and leave before it's the end of me. So keep that in mind. Like, you don't got to broadcast this. This is a journal entry. This is you and God. This is you and your therapist. You do not need to make a social media exit plan of why you girl. Leave making where you at. Just go.
It's also not any of these internet aunties, uncles, nieces, or nephews' business why you decided to go back home. Was it a healing experience? It sounds like it was a semi-hard, uncomfortable decision. But in the end, how do we look at that decision? Was it healing?
If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be in my next step. I think of things like, all right, you need to move on to your next step. And I always think of, what are you going to sacrifice to get there? And it's my comfortability. It's my dignity, my ego, living in LA, living in this really nice apartment, living in this really nice area, doing cool things, for the internet. I had to decide like, all right, the internet is not going to take me where I need to go. I need to do what I need to do, what's best for myself. Like the praise, the likes, the retweets, the reposts, like it's nice and all. And I will say in those 6 months of me like not posting, not doing things, I'm like at my mom's house. It's not aesthetic. Like I'm sure you've seen a Haitian mother or a Panamanian mother's like home. Like it's very empty. So it's just like, it's something for me to post, but it definitely take a toll on me. But in the healing aspect, it was more of like, all right, I have something to look forward to. And that's what I am. I'm a planner. So it's just like, yeah, I'm going to take a step back and do X, Y, Z, but 1, 2, 3 is coming. And this is what I have to look forward to. I'm definitely someone that likes to prepare for the occasion. So even though I took that setback to heal and, sit back with myself and, come back to myself. I was a shell of myself at that time. It allowed me to move forward. And I think that's my healing process, because leaving LA wasn't easy. Like, who wants to live in, I love BC, but like, it's cold out. It was cold out here. There's real cold out. Always nice and warm, but it's just like, again, I wouldn't be where I am right now if I didn't take that step forward. I think some people need to just swallow that pill of like, your next step sometimes isn't a step forward. Sometimes it's a step back so you can take a bigger step forward. So
is it a step back or is it just a pivot? Because I don't want to, recently I'm really focused on my language and the nomenclature that we use to call a thing. And I think that many times we use these terms like take a step back as if you failed. Sit down. And I'm like, is it a step back or is it a pivot?
It's a hard pivot. Definitely a hard pivot. Because people look at LA and New York as like these pinnacles of like greatness. Of like, you made it because you're able to afford New York or LA. But like, New York and LA is not everyone's end all be all. Some people go back home and you can take that notoriety and fame that you grew in LA and go back to your hometown and be like the king of the city. And it's the same energy. So you kind of just have to decide what external validation that you're seeking.
Tell me more about that. So then I guess, we just got really deep. I do think that we're experiencing external validation. I do think we can sprinkle a little bit of ego. Like when you're little in your town, like I'm going to leave. And then having to come back and eat that crow at the coffee shop with like that one weird dude from high school chemistry who runs into you. It's giving Christmas Hallmark.
And they still remember you. They remember you, everything about you. Every single person, those 6 months, they're just like, hi, Cristina. And I'm like, oh, I haven't seen you since marine biology in 9th grade.
And also, I would even add to that, in this age of social media where I feel like everything is this validation from the world, right? How did you sit with that? How did you validate yourself and your self-worth while making these important and impactful decisions for Cristina?
So back to the pivot, not the step back, but the pivot. I decided that who I was in LA was this marketing guru. I was this marketing baddie. I worked at all these cool companies that did these things. My pivot to the left was going to be wellness. It's going to be wellness. It's mental health. It's my nonprofit off work. It's all of these things. And I can't be both. I can't be a marketing guru and then preach, burnout relief and mental health, because you're not getting that working at a job. I'm sorry. It's not possible. So I had to decide that the rebrand is going to take some time. And then the new the external validation that I was seeking, again, I can't sit here and say that no one is ever seeking external validation, because we all do. But the new external validation that I was going to get after the 6 months of this rebrand, it's going to be the same feeling that I feel like I'm missing in LA. So why not take the time to form that? And it's also really cool as a creative, as a marketer, as someone that's able to just rebrand for brands. Rebranding yourself is actually pretty fun. So that's a cool 6 months for me to sit down and be like, all right, I changed my handle on Instagram, TikTok, and all of that. I have a new color scheme. I have a new wardrobe at this point. There's a new tone of voice. So it's all of that I got to sit there and create in the pivot of me being sad about, oh, I'm missing out on all the cool things in LA. But no, I have so much more to look forward to as this new wellness baddie here in DC. I'm just someone that gives myself something to look forward to. I think that's just honestly just the best advice and best to take it. You can sit there and mourn. I think that's great to do that. But look how much forward you have to look forward to. It's just abundance is out there. Why not?
Let's go back a few steps and talk about, let's pivot and talk about the business card. I know that this specific episode is about burnout, but I do want to bring that to light because, Cristina, as I'm sure you know, all this stuff goes together. All of it goes together. So tell me about the business card. A lot of people do not know this information, sis, of how to leverage an LLC to actually help you out, especially in survival times.
Absolutely. So with my business, off work and work are two separate things. So work is the marketing agency, off work is the nonprofit. Both of them have checking accounts, savings accounts, and credit card lines of credit. So you're able to leverage this to, purchasing. When you get this credit card, you're like, oh, you can purchase things for your business. You can purchase things, whatever you need for your business. But you can also use this to support yourself. And I don't think people talk about that. While your name is on your business credit card, your business name, your name is on it as well. So you're able to use this and pay it off. There's no one tracking you and saying oh, you didn't use this for your business. It's a line of credit. The line of credit just happens to go under your business. So for me to keep my business, my brick and mortar, my apartment uphold, things had to go on that credit card. And that's what I did. Luckily, again, your line of credit for your business is a separate line of credit versus your personal credit. So you're able to keep your personal credit intact and you're not losing points. You're not getting dings and whatnot on your credit. I will say it does happen on your business credit. And I'm not going to tell you to just start a new business, but you got to do what you got to do to get to next day. Luckily, I was able to pay off the business credit card and, the debt is wiped. But that is an opportunity that I think people should start taking it, especially if you have an LLC, you're someone that makes business, you market a business, get a credit card and you're able to get, as much as you can. I got a $10,000 limit credit card and it was able to really, if I didn't have that credit card, I'd be somewhere in LA in a car, sad.
So what I hear is that one of the foundations of you being able to survive this pivot, survive this burnout from a financial perspective. So then therefore you could focus on the actual burnout, right? Because too many times we know the issue. I'm burnt out, I'm stressed, I'm depressed, but you just don't have the financial net to then be able to tackle those things. Was things like, one, you said earlier, you had about $50K in savings. So you saved your money.
I better have saved my money. If I'm going to burn out myself working all these 3 jobs, I better have some saved up.
Pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Then also having enough business acumen to say, you know what? How do I leverage my LLC so I can still pay for my life and figure things out? And then it also says financially pivoting and calling mom and dad and saying, I need help, which there's no shame in doing.
Absolutely. Especially if they're here, if they're alive. A lot of people don't have parents that are, here with us. So like, take advantage of them. They put you here on this earth. Get what you can back, please.
I also want to honor that I think that historically, well, no, I don't think. I know historically, we come from people's society. We come from tribal people where multi-generations live in the house.
Absolutely.
And I always think about that now that I live very far away from my family and I'm raising a kid is what does it look like to go back to that? Why was there a PR campaign against that? But I do think about that often.
I think it sucks that people have the mentality, and it's not any fault of ours. It's society. It's people telling us like, oh, you didn't make it. You're not self-made, then you didn't make it. But a lot of these people that are self-made wouldn't have made it without their family or support. A lot of these people, I don't want to call them trust fund babies, but this money came from somewhere, right? These people had, their parents was saving money for years on end to gift to their kid while they were in college to start that one business that now is a multi-million-dollar business. So while we don't have the multi-million-dollar funds, my mom does have a home that I could live in for free. My dad also has a home that I could live in for free. So the things that, they're just luxury. There's Black luxuries that I don't think people tap into, that we don't view it that way. We're always talking about white privilege and, there's Black privilege as well. The fact that we have a community, the fact that we have my aunties, uncles, all these people living in a 5-10 mile radius. We think of it, oh, it's annoying. My auntie can just pop up. But actually, no, my auntie can pop up and like cook me dinner. And we like don't have the money to cook dinner. So start taking like advantage of these Black privileges that we have. We have so many. I don't think anybody ever talked about it.
Well, girl, I do. I was the kid. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. I was the kid growing up in St. Louis, Missouri, that I was like, I am never living here. I'm never coming back here. I am leaving, right? And my parents would just laugh and say, okay, as long as your grades are good, we don't really care. Then I left and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being away. I enjoyed having my own life. Dare I say it? I enjoyed coming back to St. Louis to visit. And people were like, how's California? Right? Like, stomp on these haters. My ego enjoyed it. Then I had a kid. And I was like, hold up. Y'all want me to raise this kid without community? It's hard out here. And so, well, I'm still in California. I'm not going to lie. The conversations that I'm having with myself, that I'm having with my kid, that I'm having with my family and my husband about what does it look like to raise this kid in family community, those conversations are actively happening.
You start then, right? Because I'll take a step back and talk about even my own like personal health journey. My mom was raised by a single mother. So like you don't grow up thinking that you have help or you have support, because the only person that was there was my mother and like occasionally my grandmother. So my first thought isn't to ask for help or dive into my community. My first thought is to figure it out myself, because my mom figured it out myself. So when you're raising your kids in this community aspect of teaching them how to ask for help, who to ask for help, when to ask for help, that you bring that into adulthood. And that's so important, because I had to relearn that. I had to do a lot of reparenting to myself along with my burnout journey to make myself the best human being I can be to get the help that I need. Because if I didn't tap into that, then I wouldn't even ask my mom. Like going back home wouldn't be an option. I wouldn't even know what to ask her. But that's really important. I'm glad that you are teaching your kids that, because it's going to carry into adulthood for sure.
Girl,
and hopefully they'll have way less burnout. They don't do what we did.
It's interesting you say the whole ask for help thing. I do think that especially in Black women communities, we do not ask for help because of this idea that it makes you weaker. I am very aware that I grew up, I grew up with both sets of my family. Both my parents are from the same city. And so both of their families and extended people are in the same city. So I grew up with all the aunties and the uncles and the cousins. And, I always tell people I never had a babysitter. My parents never paid this 17-year-old to come watch me. Probably because my parents don't trust people. I come from that no sleepovers type thing, but also because they don't need to, because we can just call somebody in the family and you can go kick it. But I grew up in a family that I know my parents asked for help. I never saw it happen. And it wasn't until I was an adult when we're starting to talk about things where I'm like, oh, that's how that happened. And so what are your thoughts on that? Because you can live in a household that you just know your parents, mom, dad, cat, dog, cow, do not ask for help, and that's a problem. You could also live in a household where you don't actively watch adults asking for help. And I'm not saying that children should be involved in every adult conversation. But if a child doesn't know actively, like, oh, you can just do that, then the impression to them is, oh, we don't ask for help.
I think that's when I discovered child support. I was like, oh, there's child support. Like, okay, there is someone paying extra money to contribute to my well-being and having things that I need. Granted, my mother raised me as a single mother in the 2000s, which is like time back then. She couldn't do much. She wasn't someone that had a degree. She had, she did the best that she can with what she had. But again, that's not a child conversation to have with. When I heard the word child support, I was like, oh, we got extra money. Let me get the child support. My mom was like, excuse me? That child support supports that roof over your head. It supports the food that you have on. It supports the clothes that you have on your back. That's what's being supported. Don't ask me for no damn child support ever again. But that is the ask for help that I had no idea that existed. My mother was blatantly asking, or apart, who knows, asking for help, and got it. But back then I wasn't thinking about it that way. I just saw my mom and my dad taking care of me separately, but realistically it's co-parenting. So
we get to mom's house, we get some seasoned food, we get a hug, right? We are told that it is going to be okay and you are not a failure. What does that unburnout journey now start looking like? What are the things that you are actively doing to, I don't want to use the word reverse as if it didn't exist, but to come back to yourself in a healthy way?
To be honest with you, obviously this is a choice, but being in the scene in LA takes a lot of toll on you because people are consistently watching. When you're back in Chesapeake, Virginia, nobody gives a fuck what you're doing. So it's very easy for me to go back to myself because I don't feel like I'm being judged. I don't have nothing to post because ain't nothing to post out there. And I'm able to just get into my daily routine without feeling like I need to highlight things. And I think that is where a lot of my burnout came. It's sectioned. It's me doing the jobs being too much, me being underpaid, and then also having to post about the jobs and maintain an online persona. That part of me didn't exist anymore because I'm in a place where it doesn't matter. We're all in the same playing field. We all went to high school, to college together. Nobody's cooler than one another. So that honestly really helped me because I was able to just get back into my routine. And it wasn't also at the, ass crack of dawn. I love PSC, don't get me wrong. I can sleep in a little bit for my clients that are on the East Coast. But over there, I was able to just get up at a reasonable hour, 8, 9 o'clock, instead of getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to compete with people. Go through my routine of making breakfast again, going to the gym, just getting back into holistic wellness rather than trying to push myself to get back into the same space that I was doing in LA. So I was able to just slow down. I stopped waking up early. I was able to go to the gym and spend a full 2 hours at the gym instead of trying to do a quick workout so I can go back home to get back on my desk. I was eating 3 meals a day because I had time to make it. My mother was cooking for me. So I'm like, all right, we got breakfast, lunch, and dinner over here. I love this for me. Then I was able to just reconnect with people that, again, I went to high school and college with that were not in a judgmental state. And again, I mean, love LA down, but it's a competition. Some people are asking you what you do for work. How long have you done it? Do you know this person? Someone's asking you back that in your small town. You're asking oh, have you seen so-and-so? She has 3 kids now. She just got married. We should go to her house. And, they sit in people's houses. They have kickbacks over there. In LA, we out at the club. We're on the rooftop. So it's just it was nice to be able to kind of just melt back into who I was prior. Slowly, nurturally, gently. So that was nice.
It sounds like finding yourself again, getting really rooted in those values of finding yourself again.
Absolutely. Because I don't want to say you lose yourself, but it's just you do have to put on you don't have to, but if you want to participate actively in the LA Olympics, you have to put on the show. You have to put on the game, the face, all of the things. And when you realize that you're in a space where none of that matters, you can become yourself. And then you also just rediscover things about yourself that you forgot that you were interested in, which is nice. Now I do ceramics. I'm just yeah, I do like art. Art's not like, not meaning it's not cool in LA, but it's not like something that's going to bring my career further. So like, you're always thinking about your career versus like when you're in your hometown or when you're in your healing journey, you think about yourself first, which is nice.
Tell me about Unwork. Tell me about this nonprofit. I love the name. I love the concept. Tell me more. How did we get here? I'm assuming it was part of the unburnout situation.
I'm screaming. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Unwork is a nonprofit to help people get back into who they are outside of their jobs. It's pretty much a anti-networking club where we don't talk about what we do for work. We get together and we do activities. We have life coaching. There's an out-of-office fund that helps people support PTO time when they need the PTO time off. And it's honestly just a safe space. I feel like everywhere in these big cities that you go, it's like, hey, my name is, and this is what I do for work. People are always asking me what that is. And this is just not what it is. It's, hey, this is my name and this is what I like to do for fun. This is what I like to do when I'm off work. All of the events that we have are strategically placed for times that you're out of work. So they usually start around 5:30, 6 o'clock. So this makes it so you can't stay late. You can't take that last meeting because you have somewhere to go to our event. We also do life coaching because I think that was a huge part of my healing journey about just time management. I think we all think that we manage our time very well and we don't. We don't. We be in the bed scrolling when we could be up doing whatever it is that we need to do. So through life coaching, I was able to segment my time a little bit better and realize I am wasting my time here. I don't have not enough time. I'm just wasting time. So that's something that we offer free to people or donation based. If people need life coaching, you're able to get yourself on track. And then the last thing is the out of office fund where we are paying people to take time off work. Because again, we've talked about like people just can't afford to take time off. People can't afford their sabbaticals. A lot of these people are founders or creatives. They're self-employed people who just don't have the luxury of having PTO. So we are raising $100,000 to help people take time off work. We will pay you for it, document it. We'll give you a life coach for a day, like take some time off work, truly. So that is what birthed after my burnout. I felt like I can't be the only one going through this. And the more I talked about it on the internet, the more people started to come out and say like, oh, I'm going through this too. And it just became bigger than I ever expected.
I want to thank you for that space because, well, for many reasons. The biggest one, though, is that I also think that your nonprofit is really requiring people to think about who they are outside of the boundaries of labor, which is the exact thing that capitalism doesn't want us to do, right? Ever since we were little, even, think about baby Cristina at 5 years old in kindergarten. What are you going to be when you grow up? Which comes from this beautiful place of allow Cristina to dream about her possibilities. But foundationally, it does come from a place of, so are you excited to labor? And it sounds like, right?
Or even at 5 years old, or how much money are you going to make when you grow up? Oh, you want to be a teacher? They don't make that much money. Pick something else.
Yes. And so I love what your nonprofit spiritually is doing for people, which is requiring them to think about who they are. How do they define themselves? How do they identify without the boundaries of labor?
And that's a question we ask a lot of our like off work conversations, or we have like the kind of just like conversation groups where we get together and we yap. It's just like, who are you outside of your job? And it's hard for people to describe themselves. Like for me, as I'm doing my healing, it's easy to say that I'm a woman, I'm a Black woman, I'm a Caribbean woman, I'm an Afro-Latina woman. I like to cook, I like to do ceramics, I like to do all of these things. But all of these things are kind of suppressed because the easiest and the first thing to say is, hi, I'm Cristina and I work in marketing. That's very uninteresting. So like very uninteresting. So tell me something interesting about yourself. Tell me something true about yourself. And that's a hard thing that people have to like answer in these conversations, but it's also my favorite thing to ask. I like to see people's like mind spinning, like, oh, well, who am I? And that's a journal entry, like write down, who are you?
It's loaded, sis. So as we end this, introduce yourself to us. Who are you?
I'm Cristina. I am a wellness baddie. I'm a nature lover. I'm a former marketer, but now I'm in the nonprofit space, and I'm really looking forward to helping people have work-life balance and take more time off of work.
I love this. Thank you so much.